Hi everybody, Big Bong here, and today I have a very special guest, Elisa from French Mornings. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. So how is the lockdown and everything?
I'm doing okay. I'm getting really busy with this new YouTube channel. So basically, yeah, I have my mind on that. Not really frustrated to not be doing anything else, but
Yeah,
but
I can imagine.
yeah, it's okay.
So, a lot of people ask me for advice, tools, and resources to learn French. Now, I recently discovered your channel, and I thought to myself that even though it's pretty new, it's actually perfect for those who are learning the language. You don't speak too fast, the audiovisual quality as well as the editing make it very enjoyable to watch, and on top of that, you teach very useful idiomatic expressions. But you also talk about the French culture and history. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us more about your channel and yourself?
Hi guys. My name is Elisa. I'm 28 years old. I'm French, and last year I started giving classes, like French classes on italki. And since then I realized that teaching is something that I enjoy, and also teaching languages is something that I enjoy even more. Yeah, I've been teaching like on and off, let's say, for the whole year 2020. And yeah, since a few months, I decided that this is actually what I really want to do now. So yeah, I'm trying to be serious about this.
Nice, awesome. I wish you all the best.
Thanks.
And I think we have a similar way of learning and teaching languages, especially with movies, TV shows, traveling. When did you really feel like you started learning and speaking English yourself? And in what kind of environment? Were you an exchange student? Or did you do an internship? Or have you ever worked in English?
Not really. Actually, I kind of taught myself English. When I was a teenager, I really liked to sing. And
Nice.
yeah. We were a few friends always singing, so of course we would sing in English. And I remember that I started to sing some songs from the Disney movies, and and that's actually how I started learning, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your favorite song?
I just can't wait to be king.
Oh yeah, Lion King. Love that one.
And yeah, basically all of my favorite. Oh yeah, Aladdin. Yeah, I think that's my favorite one. Yeah, I think I learned English through music. Yeah.
But usually in France, people watch Disney movies in French. So does that mean you were watching them in English?
No, I watched the movies in French. By then I was like 12 years old. So I had watched all of the Disney movies in French. And then I started it was just the beginning of YouTube. And you could find like the Disney songs in every language as possible. So I started searching for those kind of videos, and then finding the lyrics as well. And
awesome. So singing, which is a very useful and very powerful mnemonic way of learning languages, I should say. Apart from that, so you've, I guess, met people, you had to speak in English. Do you have any anecdote or funny stories about some miscommunication you had in English as you were learning the language, or you still have today?
So I think, the most embarrassing one. I was in Tanzania, and I was having a party with some expats. I don't know. We were working together. Okay, I was wearing a dress.
Okay.
So this is important for the story. And there was a guy who was managing the music, and he wanted to put a new song. And he said something like, "Are you all ready for your panties to drop off the floor?" Oh, and I said "I'm not wearing any." Because I thought that panties meant pants.
Yeah,
so
trousers.
I was I'm wearing a dress.
Yeah.
I don't care. But,
so everybody must have thought, oh, that naughty girl.
yeah, and actually everybody was like, oh, French people.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
but actually nobody really cared. Like they were like, okay, you do you, girl. I'm fine with that.
Wow, that's pretty funny though.
Yeah,
Cool.
so it was embarrassing, but when I think about it, like actually people didn't care.
Hold on. When did you realize? Did people tell you like right away when it happened, or did you realize it afterwards? Like, oh my God.
I think I realized afterwards.
Okay.
Like why are they all looking at me? Like I didn't say anything weird.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh okay, no, panties, not pants.
Not the same thing. When you learn English, are you more inclined to learn British English or American English? Do you have a preference?
I would say that I prefer British English. Like I
Right.
wish I had the British accent. But when I'm learning, I mean, I don't really mind. I know that it would be better for me to like memorize what kind of vocabulary they use in the United States and what kind of vocabulary they use in England. But to be honest, I don't really. Yeah, I'm not trying to make any effort.
Right. But you still have a weak
about
spot
this.
for the British accent,
Yeah,
like a lot of
yeah.
people. And we do learn the British way in schools, in French schools. So I don't know if you
Yeah,
you
but
had a...
I don't think my accent is the result of my English classes back then.
Right, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
more
yeah, I feel
like
you.
I really liked watching Game of Thrones, and
Right.
I wanted to talk like them, so I tried to repeat after them, and yeah, I tried to practice the British accent, but after some point I kind of gave up. Like, I mean, I stopped, and yeah, now I'm just happy with my English at this point.
You know, that's actually my one of my main struggles, because I used to learn English with British people. I used to go to England many times, so I sounded a little bit more European. But then I came to Canada. I started working for an American company, and it kind of like people didn't understand everything I was saying, and at a certain point, you don't. It's a bit annoying when people ask you, are you from the UK, or
Yeah.
are you from Europe? So you just don't want people to ask you that, and you just start mimicking and adapting the accent from the country
Yeah.
you're in. So I wish I still had my accent back in the days, but I think if I go back to London, to England, my accent will shift. It's the same thing with my French. When I go back to France, my accent switches back to European French, but I'm here in Canada, in Montreal. So when I speak to Québécois friends, I tend to have a tiny different accent,
Yeah,
because
I
it's just,
think,
you know, and
yeah, we have that kind of way of being a sponge with accents, you know? Like, if I speak English with someone who has a British accent, then I'm not gonna even realize it, but I'm going to mimic the accent without
Absolutely, yeah.
trying.
So I know you teach on italki. By the way, if you want to take lessons with her, her link will be in the description. What is your background regarding teaching?
I always had a soft spot for languages, like really I was always learning something. Like, it was English for a very long time, and these last few years I've been learning other languages, but I feel like I know what it is to learn it. Like, you need the method, like where do you need to start. And I also really like French. I think it's a great language, and
Yeah.
and I love our idioms. I think they're really funny sometimes. So no, I didn't study languages. I might do it in the future. I think that's something that I would really enjoy. So maybe we'll see.
Now, what is your approach when you teach? What does a usual lesson with you look like?
So basically, it would really depend on the level of the students. I teach both beginners and intermediate, and even more advanced students. Sometimes I'm really impressed by some people's level. I'm like, wow, if I were you, I wouldn't even take classes. So with beginners, I would really focus on pronunciation and spelling, because French is, it's complicated. It's not very logical, and you need to remember a few rules, and also you need to practice. So I like to to practice pronunciation with reading, for example. And I also teach them, some useful idioms or short sentences, so that they have already the feeling that they can speak and can have a conversation, like even a basic one. And for more intermediate students, I would focus both on conversation and grammar. And for intermediate students, I would work mostly on idioms, because I think that's what makes the difference between a good level and a really, really good level. Like if you can start using the idioms of the language, especially in French, we use them so often. I think.
I know.
Yeah, I think that's what makes the difference.
I'm curious, are you learning any other languages at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment I'm learning Italian.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've been trying to be a bit more serious about learning languages. So
Is there a particular reason for that?
I'm actually super inspired by my students. I'm like, these guys are so dedicated. I also need to practice. Yeah, so I started learning Italian like a year and a half ago, but I wasn't really consistent.
Now back to the topic of your YouTube channel. So it's very recent. When exactly did you start, or did you start thinking about it, and how did you come up with this idea?
So I started thinking about it a few months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, as I said, I was planning to create something to help people, and I would say that my channel is more for intermediate French learners, but I mean also for beginners who want to listen to more French. Like even though you don't understand as much, I think it's still very important to learn to listen to the language as much as possible when you're starting. Yeah. So. Yeah, I came up with that a few months ago, and New Year 2021, I was like, oh, okay, now let's do this.
Absolutely. And again, all the best to you and your YouTube channel.
Thank
so
you.
What can we expect on your channel? I saw that it was very cultural. You talked about numbers in French. You talked about, how is it in English? La galette des rois. So French pastries.
Yeah.
And everything that's related to that with history. What kind of topics can we expect for the next few weeks?
So there is definitely going to be other videos about food. It's a great topic, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think this was very fun, so I hope I will meet other YouTubers and that will make some videos together about languages, about French and idioms. I will also try to add maybe conversations video, so maybe with some friends and talking about any topics. And I think listening to conversation is also a great way to practice the language.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. So again, if you want to learn French, visit her italki account and also subscribe to her channel, where we actually made another video in French. So if you're learning the language, go check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to support this channel, like and share if you enjoy this interview, and I'll see you soon for more videos. Bye!